Can't tell if this is in the shot or not. Does not look like it. Can y'all hear me? I gotta go to Facebook, I forgot. God damn it. Alright. Now I can go. Oh, let's see. Are you kidding me? Logged me out. Son of a bitch. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Y'all gonna have to let me know how the volume and stuff is. Because, well, I can't see it. Brandy's being a badass out there. I think she's stir. So I was going to stream using my laptop in OBS tonight, because I was testing the chat overlay stuff, and I got that working. However, there was a slight issue that I did not account for. My laptop is Wi-Fi only right now. I have an adapter for it. I just gotta find it so I can run it wired. What the hell? I gotta raise my phone up on this stupid stand. Otherwise, it does not stay up here very good. Not without a case. When it's in a case, it's fine. So, let me put this stupid thing in here. Alright. I think I got it. I just need to be able to read comments and stuff. Let's see. There'll be no pipples. No pipples currently on the lines. No pipples. So let me click on this thing. Oh shit. I know. What's wrong. This, I believe, is set to unlisted. That ain't bueno. That is no bueno. I'm going to stop and start over. I'll click on Campbell Can. They tour. Get the stuff off here. I don't know how well you guys can hear me. If you can hear me at all. I'm trying a couple of new things. And some not so new things. I was going to do some fancy OBS chat overlay stuff today. Well, I did, but I was going to do it in the stream itself. And then I realized that my laptop is without an Ethernet adapter, so it would have to run off Wi-Fi. I just don't know how well that would translate back onto a stream, so I opted not to do that. I don't know if this is any more ideal. I almost feel like this should come up, but it's about as high as I can get it without it being in shot. So, cold, wife, it is warm. It's actually not that bad. It's like I'm standing next to a fire. Let me get my handy dandy cigar lighter. Uh-oh, where did my handy, oh there it is. My handy dandy cigar lighter. Because I can't be doing stuff without my lung protection in place. All this coal dust, I gotta have some kind of protection. I'm gonna fire in something to forge here in a second. Oh, the other thing, I had a plan and I completely scrapped that plan. So one of the things I do need to do though, shop kitty has been hard at work on the food over there. One of the things I do need to work on, see, it's kind of problematic. I changed the camera angle for somebody's suggestion, and I think it's fine, but you still really can't see what's going on at the anvil until I switch. So the piece that's sitting on the anvil right now, let me switch the camera view. The piece that's sitting on there now is a taper die that I'm working on for the big power hammer. The problem is, this got, I would have done it, I would have finished it, but this, I had to cut about 1/2 inch of that off because it was getting too long and it was running into the saddle. And that's a good, from the top of the die to the bottom, or the top of the saddle is about a little over 1 inch. So I had to cut, I don't know, I'd say about 1/2 inch of that off. Maybe even more. And, oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, it's a little bit more than 1/2 inch actually, about 3/4 of an inch on one side. So that's what I had to cut off to make that fit properly. And it still needs to bend down. It really needs to bend right here. So I might try to coerce that to bending where I want it to be. See, now this is going to be problematic. The damn chat doodad can't be shutting down. I remember having this problem last time. It's kind of stupid. But if I go to the dashboard, it never does that. I don't get it. And then as far as destinations go, it says there are 2 people watching from YouTube and 2 people on the Facebooks and uno peoples on Twitch. That's pretty handy dandy. Ain't none of them saying a damn thing, but still handy dandy. Okay, so in order to bend this more easily, because that's That's probably 3/4 of an inch right there where I want to bend it. In order to bend that a little more easily, I think what I should do is get a fuller. Let me see if I have something that will work. Right here. Yeah, right here. I don't know if this one's angled in the correct orientation, but I can make it work. What I'm going to do is take a fuller and lay it across as squarely as I can get it, and take that down a little bit more. And that's going to add a problem. It's going to push this out, and I've already cut it, so I might have to cut it again. Hey, Roy. Hey, Thomas. So yeah, in order to, I want this bend to go over the die. So, and it currently sits out about, I don't know. Well, I mean, that's exactly where I want it. If I can get it to bend right where it is right now, then this whole piece will ride on the die, which is what I want. I want to make full contact on the die, the bottom die. I don't. I would prefer none of this to be on the inside of the die. If anything, it can be outside a little bit. I would still prefer it to be on the inside more than on the edge, because what can happen is you're forging any like, so you can see. I don't know how well you can see that. Can you hear it? So it's not completely flat. That's an easy fix though, mostly. You get it hot, take it to the hammer, put a big flatter on there and give it a pop, and that should really kind of help seat it. That's not a problem. But if you get too much of that and you have it hanging over, you know, that can be a problem. So I probably, on this one, I probably will not harden this. And if I do decide to harden it, I'm going to make sure I temper it back a fair bit more than what the dies would be. Hey, Kevin. So you put the fuller on the top? Yeah. Your monthly blacksmith challenge, huh? Right on. Well, good luck with that, Lance. Is that a power hammer die? Adam, it is, technically it would be a saddle die, yes. So the idea is, and I've got that piece I am planning to work on. Let me go grab it. This is easy. This is like super easy. Is this it? No, this is not it. There it is. I had already marked. I was like, I knew I had a piece that I marked out. So this is the additional piece for this. As you can see, I kind of got it marked out. Now I'm going to bend it there, and it'll be basically a 90. And then what's going to happen is this will be bent at a 90. This, you know, so it'll be bent this way, and then eventually this will be welded to this tapering die, and this will allow me to drop this down into the saddle, and then there's a bolt that runs in, and it'll lock it down. That way, this isn't moving all over the place when I'm trying to use it. I've got one. I'll show you. Oh, derp. And this one works okay. The problem with it is, I mean, no, it doesn't work okay. It works fine. It works great. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. The problem with it is that tape, it's way too much taper for what I want. So, but it's the same thing. So it's just a 90 there. This drops into the saddle, and then, you know, if this was a top or bottom die, this would sit down on that, and then there's a piece that, there's a, you know, like a bolt that tightens up against this to keep this from moving around a lot. And this work, like I said, this works great. You can even hold this one. It's not ideal. If you have somebody around, it's better. They can hold it for you while you're using it, and then you can get it off the hammer real quick. But like I said, the taper, it's too much taper for what I want it for. That would be great for like pickets or something on a fence. You can, you know, put tapered ends on it or leaf elements or something. And for that, it'd be great. But for a drift, not so good. Yeah, I call them, it's called a tapering die. I mean, that's how it's always been described to me. No, it is just for making tapers on a power hammer quickly and easily and repeatable. Because you get a consistent taper. So, I mean, if you look at the taper on this is very slight. It's, well, I don't know. I didn't measure it. I guess I could try to do that real quick. I think I have an angle finder doodad mabob thing somewhere around here. I don't know. I don't know if the batteries are any good. Let's see. Let us see. Click the on button. Holy camoly. I can't believe that works. So, let's see. Oh. Excuse me. Oh, shut up. Talk about errors. Zero it out there on my anvil. I said zero it out there on my anvil. I've only used this 8 times. I thought you could hit this zero and it would go to zero, but it is not cooperating. Huh. Okay, I'm just going to roll with that. So 0.9. And that's like a 6.9. So it's claiming that's a 6-degree angle on that, which it might be. It's got a big gouge in it that I'm going to have to clean up. I don't know how I pulled that off. But no big deal. Anyways, this is much less taper. Than the other one. The other one is quite significant. And I did try using it. And it's actually a good starter for this operation, but there's really no need if you're gonna do that. So one of the things, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I'm okay with that. I know some people will get pissy. You know what? I don't care. Most of y'all's drifts are bad and terrible. Wrong. And here's why. If you look at the taper, if you look at your tapers on your drifts, right? Let me see if I can find something here. You look at the taper on your drifts, there's too much taper. You don't want to go past really much more than a standard Morse taper. So you see a lot of tapers like this for drift. You get this, right? You got, let's say that's the working end of the taper, the far end of the taper, and then you get this. This is kind of exaggerated, but I see a lot of, I don't know how well you can see that, but you get, you can kind of see what I drew up there, right? So, and I'll try to get my aircraft guy on. You're getting a lot of this when you really want a lot of, more of this. You don't want this, you want this for your tapers on a drift. So this is a well-made hammer eye drift. I'll have to look at see who made it, but you notice it's a slight taper. it's not, you know, Angie Larson made this. What in the world happened there? So this is what happens when you let people use your tools. Oh. But anyways, there's a reason for that. You don't want, you know, you don't want the Christmas tree taper in your handle. Hey, Bill. Hey, John. Yeah, John, the comments from YouTube and Twitch don't get shown on Facebook. That only happens from Facebook to Twitch or YouTube. That's a Facebook thing. As far as I can tell, there's no way around that. And it's a little frustrating. I have been working on, however, a chat overlay. Yeah, you jumped on earlier. I was playing with the chat overlay. The only reason I'm not using that now is I realized I don't have an Ethernet port on my laptop. It's got to have a dongle. And I've got one of those somewhere. I just got to find it. And I didn't want to try to do the stream over Wi-Fi, if that makes any sense. I'd prefer to be hardwired to the network for that. Hey, it's a good thing I've got a cigar lighter, by the way, because apparently I left my lighter in the house. So, I'm glad I made that thing. But anyways, back to the hammer eye drift. Like I said, you don't want this. You want more, you know, the taper shuffle, you know, because you know that now. There's a reason for that. If the eye has too much taper on the inside of it, right? It's supposed to be an hourglass shape. So if you have an extreme hourglass in there and you run a piece of wood in there, you will never be making full contact on both sides of the eye. You just won't, because you've got to split that piece down and then drive your drift through there to push it out. Your wedge is going to be half an inch thick in order to pull that off, and you probably still won't make full contact, which is why you see a lot of folks having to reset their handles on their hammers. My guess is 9 times out of 10, that's probably what's caused that. Now that's not always true. Temperature changes can definitely make a difference. But I know, not this hammer, Andrew Larson made this one in June, but I know that my everyday driver, where is it? Oh, it's over here. I know that this hammer, for instance, I've been to Louisiana, I've been to Texas, I've been back to Louisiana, been to all over. This handle has not gotten loose in the 2.5+ years it's been on here. It fits great. The original handle was loose, and it wasn't the eye's fault. It was the handle that we had put on there it was just ever too small. So what was happening was it kept driving down the handle. It just could never, there was never enough meat in the handle for it to get a hold of, so it just kept driving down it. To the point that, like, literally my handle was about, I don't know, probably about, about that big. And I had about that much sticking out of it. It was kind of funny, so eventually I swapped it out. But since I've done that, I haven't had a problem with this handle. Like I said, it's been to Louisiana, been to Texas, all kinds. It's been all over, and in dry and very humid places. So I'm sure it'll get loose eventually. I'm sure it will. But if you have too much of this, it's kind of like you're begging for it. It feels really good too because it's nice and warm. The other thing on a drift, let's grab it. The other thing on a drift is now see, that's not great. It's hard to see. It's rounded and it's not square. I see a lot of people that make a drifts and then square these off. That's not good geometry for an eye. A square eye, that's just, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's just no bueno, man. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I've seen them, but it's just, why you're making it harder for yourself if you're making a square eye. Let me scroll back. Definitely agree with making your drift tape too steep. Makes it hard to wedge something. Yeah, man. I've seen it, and I see guys doing them all the time. In fact, I was at a place not too long ago, and they were trying to give us those drifts to use, and I was trying to be as polite as I could be, but I was at the same time I was like, yeah, we're not using that. Not only were they this, they were square. I was like, no. See, Bill's going to be our jukebox for the night, I see. So I've not made any hammers with wrought iron. I'm thinking, I don't want to say never, but it just doesn't, I mean, I think there's some cool things you can do with wrought iron. The hammers just don't appeal to me. I don't know why. I mean, now, I've seen some executed well that look good, but at the end of the day, I'm just kind of like, I would rather have homogeneous steel for my hammer. That's just me. I'm the same way with like knives. Like the Damascus stuff looks cool and whatnot, but you know, I would rather have like a blade. What is that fancy crap? The 80 CRV 20 stuff. There was another one somebody just posted the other day, and I was like, I have never heard of that. I don't know what it was. It was something crazy. I was like, no, there's a steel I have never heard of. I'm sure there's plenty of that. But yeah, I mean, so it's not that you can't make a hammer with a drift it's just not ideal. But, you know, it's not ideal. Yeah, a less acute, I suppose, more gradual taper, or Morse taper is how I learned to think about it. If you have a lathe or a mill and you have access to a Morse taper, that's what you're kind of looking for. And you can look up online. I want to say it's like a 3% angle. I don't remember 100%. So, but yeah, I'm just thinking about how I want to, or what I want to work on. And I think the first thing I'm going to do while this is sitting here is, did I mark it? I better mark it a little bit better than that. Otherwise, I'll be like, what in the world? I'll just come over here, and I'll hit anvil cam. And then, oh, check this out. Oh, it did the thing. This damn thing. Hang on. This camera likes to decide it wants to give up on being useful. So, I got anvil cam 1. Wait for it. And anvil cam 2. It's a little bright. I got to sort out the brightness on the two cameras. But yeah, I don't know that. It seems like this would be the better view when I'm doing like a horse head, you know, like the punch work and the chisel work. But I don't know. We'll see. That'll work, but it blew out. So. That's fine. Okay. Let me, oh, I'm going to need a pair of tongs for that, ain't I? Where are they? I'll leave them in my truck. Here's a pair. Yeah. So let me get that toasty. So yeah, that won't. So, so I think I read that right. Where Roy was saying that this style of drift would not work out so well on wrought iron. I've never worked wrought iron hammers before, so I can't speak to that in any way, shape, or form. So I will say I've not made any drifts for the power hammer myself. I just used one of these and drift it by hand. And honestly, I mean, like we made, where did it go? Oh, I put a handle on it. Holy smokes, Rob! Look at that. Paul and I did these set hammers a few weeks back. No, it's not too hot. We made these set hammers a few weeks back, and it's, you know, it's got a decent sized handle on it. I didn't want a chintzy little handle in there. However, the punch that we used to punch these was made from 3/4 inch material, and I was worried that the holes were going to be too small. And when we drifted them, I was like, oh man, this is going to suck. But honestly, the first heat, we just took a heat just to drift them out by hand, and we just used a 4.5 pound hammer to drift them over a striking anvil, and they came out fine. Actually, what's funny is after that, I was worried we were going to over drift them because I didn't want a ginormous hole in there either. This could be hotter. Let's see. Let me get this guy a little juice. A little fuel. I'm running on that the whole time. So this is the piece that nobody cares about but me. This piece is going to, where the hell did that thing go? What? It was right here, right? Anyways, this is the piece. I need to bend it to a 90, and it will weld to the die, the tapering die. Here it is. It will weld to the quote-unquote tapering die. It's a saddle. How about that? It's a saddle die. So this fits on the saddle. But this piece I'm working on is going to get to a 90 and then welded to this, so that way when I drop this into the saddle, it'll slip down on the side saddle. And then there's a bolt that you can use, a retain, to tighten up against that piece, and that will keep this from, bouncing around and moving on you too much. And you can just put handles on these and hold them, but when I'm working, I like to use two hands typically to hold things, so that gives me the opportunity to do that instead of this. If it's small enough, that's not a big deal. But when you're talking about like 1.1/8 or 1.25 inch, and you got 12-inch piece, that starts to get tiresome, man. A little burny there. That's okay. I'm just bending it. Added some beauty marks to it. Oh, no, what would have been handy is if I'd set my damn vise up. Imagine that. Oh! Thankfully, it's not a mechanic's vise or a machinist's vise. So I won't be here all day tightening it up. Okay. Probably gonna take another heat for this now. Let's see. There we go. Not too bad, not too great. So, had I had my vise set up properly, I wouldn't be revisiting this. It's not quite square. Now I gotta fix that. How's the audio, by the way? I don't have a good way of monitoring that yet. Hopefully when I get the laptop situation figured out, I'll either have to buy an Ethernet dongle or find one. I know I've got one. And then the next step is I've been playing with a mixer, an actual pro audio mixer that I've had. And the ATEM line in, like if I run a line out from my mixer to the line in on that thing and then set it up to be a line in, it acts really weird and does really weird things. If I run from the headphones out on the mixer into the line in on the ATEM, it works fine. Which is really weird to me because a headphone out, I don't know. Really odd that works that way. I mean, I can work with that, but it's not ideal. But, like I said, I can work with that. But that's the next thing I want to work on. What's nice about being able to run audio into a mixer is from a mixer you have sends and returns, which allows you to send the signal out to all other gear, and then you can return it back in and loop it back into the mixer. So I have other outboard gear like equalizers and compressors and gates and things like that. So I'm going to grab this from this side because I'm going to be hitting it up here. Oh, that's not even, I can barely get over this anvil. Well, that's a lot better, actually. That's already a lot better. And that's really about all I need. I ain't trying to do much more than that. So I'm gonna get it hot one more time. And then my plan is to my plan for this, get it hot and throw it on the saddle where it's going to sit, lock it in and just give it a tap with the hammer and a flatter on top. To kind of just make everything where I want it. And it'll probably get a little more attention after I weld this to it. But like I said, I need to bend this next. I don't think I'm going to do that tonight. Nobody wants to watch me beat on that damn thing. But I'll probably do that like this weekend when it warms up. And I can't really show. I mean, you can see it back there, but the lighting sucks. I tried to turn off all the other lights outside of where I'm at to hopefully make that better. So I don't know how well that's working out. I'm scrolling back up to see if anybody's had any comments about the audio. I know you can hear me, but I don't know how well the audio is. So y'all are gonna have to let me know. So what I'm doing is I've got an external microphone, like a room mic, and then I've got my regular wireless lapel mic. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna come over here, turn this on, drop this in, tighten it up. There we go. That's all I'm going to do to it. And sit nice and flat. Turn that off. And then one of the local guys heard that Rob was looking for inch and a quarter pillow blocks, and he messaged me. Kenny Detmer messaged me and said, "Hey, I've got some of those, and you can just have them. Come get them." And I'm like, yeah. Super duper. So what was nice about being able to do this, by the way, what camera are we on? Let's move to this camera. I think we'll show it best. You see this little dot right there? That's where the bolt was engaged. So the nice part about that is I know where that bolt's going to engage. So what I can do, and it won't take much, but what I can do is drop this into my vise on the mill and just mill out just ever so slightly a little section there where that bolt can get like a positive engagement inside of a channel. And I don't need a lot. Really don't need to do that. This would probably hold just fine, but this way, it really significantly reduces the chances of it bouncing back up. But that's all this needs. I'm not going to do anything else with it. I'm going to set it over here and get it out of the way. Let it cool down. That sits nice and flat on the bottom die of the big power hammer, which is really what I wanted. And then tomorrow, or the next, whenever it warms up, I'll come out and weld it to that block. I'll preheat the block though, because it is a significant chunk of 4140. So let me I want to try this camera. I have to come over here every once in a while because Canon is Canon. I'll come over here every once in a while and just hit this button so the damn thing stays awake. And then had a piece of material. So I had an idea for doing a little sculpture thing. So, and I've already got a piece of it ready to go. I just need to, let's see if I can get this to focus on this thing. So it's like a leaf element type thing. But I want to forge weld this onto several other pieces and make like a little sculpture type deal. But I need to square this up first and need to make the decision if I want to do that or find some square stock. I don't know if I have any. I think I do. Well, I mean, I know I've got square stock. What I don't know is do I have appropriately sized square stock for what I want to do. Let me see. I've got, yeah, I just have to cut it. I have plenty right there. Had I been thinking, I would have cut it before I come out here, but you know, Rob, he don't do a lot of thinking. But I'm going to hold true to my, hey Steve, I'm going to hold true to my at least a horse head per night. As exciting as that may be for everybody, it is something that I want to keep working on, and focusing on and getting less sucky at. And what's really interesting is I was looking at some pictures today, and I seen something today that, hey, that is not coke. That is not coke. But I seen something today, and I was like, huh, okay. I need to deal with that. So it's just same but different, but there were some steps going on that I had not, it wasn't the steps, I didn't miss any steps, it was how those were oriented that I was like, oh, well, dang, now I want to work on that. So, always something, right? It's always something. But I will use my fancy dancy hammer. It's not fancy at all. It is not fancy at all. Me and Ed Brazil made this during COVID, you know, because we listen well. We were fraternizing with all the people. But yeah, we made that during COVID, and that was like technically my first completed hammer I'd ever made with anybody. So this is basically my everyday driver. I do not only use a rounding hammer. I do have cross pins. However, I only use them when I need to use them. So this is a straight peen, by the way, that Andrew Larson made. It's made to resemble a top tool, but it is not a top tool. It is actually a straight peen. And since Mr. King is on, I have hit one of his cross pins in my rack, no less, that I use. I like this one. I love the handle because it's just a good looking wood, but that's not my shape. I'm not big on the shape, but I use it as is because I like the wood. And then this one is Reina Tavora from Brazil. This is probably my favorite cross peen just because this thing is beefy. All right. That's way too much. Right. Back and forth so I can forget to, I keep looking for my lighter. I might have to go, I think I left my drink too, so I might have to sneak up to the house and grab my lighter and my drink. Smoking is bad, kids. I'm going to switch to the anvil cam again. Actually, I'm going to switch to the other one. I don't know if this shows anything better or worse. Not really. Okay, I think I like that. Get my tools ready. Imagine that. Where's my chisel at? None of these are the chisels I want to use. There it is. There it is. I found it. Before I chisel, Roy, yeah, yes, Ed knows, Brian knows. Actually, which camera are we on? So that's probably a 3/8 radius. And I'm thinking about taking a little bit more, to be honest. The first 2 inches, and then it tapers back and gets sharper. And then these pretty almost factory. I just knocked them down a little bit back here. I want to. This is something I did not do last time, and I paid the price. I think that's all the more bend I'm going to put in that. Yeah. But yeah. Traditional dressing. Yeah, I suppose you could call it that. That's what Brian taught me, and that's I mean, that's just the way we typically do them. I've seen some guys that do heavy, sharp, and then heavy on the end, depending on the anvil style. But I don't work that way, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Anyways, I would never draw out down here on the heel. I think that's a terrible place to do that. There's just no support down there. On a German pattern, it's a little different, but even then, no support when you got what, 10 inches. So let me chisel. Are we in the right angle? We are. You guys will have to let me know because I can't really see what I'm doing on the monitor. Yeah, that's pretty good. Try not to give him a ginormous mouth again. There we go. Much more appropriate sized mouth. I didn't shear his nose off this time. That's always a good sign. Fuller. I like it. I don't know how well you can see it, but I like it. Let's try this. Upside down cam. I get a little warmer before I do the eye. I like to get a good insert, depression on the eye. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I use these edges, but I'm kind of starting to feel like the sharper sides starting to roll a little bit on right here. So I think I need to take this back a little bit more. The near side's fine, so it tells you which side I use the most. But even when I do the eye, I don't come out screeching hot. It gives me plenty of time to place this about where I want it. Go. Oh, that's a terrible angle. I'm just going to leave it on that camera for a second. Put this back in the bar. I tell you, this is just a 100-pound anvil, and I mean, if you're, I don't think any of you guys are in the market, but if you were in the market for a brand new anvil, honestly, these Holland anvils, I don't know. The Fontanini anvil, I guess, maybe a petting house if they still make those. I don't know if Rigid's still doing those or not. But I mean, it's a local company. Greg's a good dude. He's a great anvil. No. So here's the step. Let me do this little brush. Here is what I was not seeing that I saw today on these. One, the mane was starting much closer to the ear, and the mane was much closer to each other. All right. So, how well that translates, but there it is. And I tried altering some of the camera angles, mostly the wide angle camera, and then the second angle cam I added, but the wide angle I moved at Jennifer Petrilla's recommendation to see. I don't know if this is better than what it was before, but it is. I don't have a problem with it. I wish I could get, I mean I could, but I wish I could get more anvil in the wide angle, so that way when I forget you can kind of still see what's happening. But there's a trade there, right? You know. There's only so much a guy can do. So I'm gonna come back here. Oh, hey, toasty. Probably be on the anvil. Trying to get these all kind of lined up. There's plenty of meat there. But I need to line them a little bit better. I'm glad I kept this grip over here. I'm laying it across my piece in the fire to hold it in there. Now I got to go locate a glove. Should be over here. Voila. And then I can come over here and sneak peek at the comment. Yeah, want the wide angle down more, it will have more anvil. Also check for level. So it's funny, I don't know about the wide angle, I haven't checked for level on it, but anvil cam is level. It's the anvil that is not level. I need to fix that. I've known, I mean, it's obvious when you lay something up here, right? It just is like, woohoo! But I've known, but I just haven't gotten around to it yet. Which is funny because that's a practice what you preach kind of an ordeal for me. And I'm not practicing what I preach. There we go. I like that better. I always make fun of people, and here I am, the guy, making fun, you know, I should be made fun of. I'm always making fun of people with their, you know, they talk about putting the bat wings on their tools so they don't roll off the anvil. I'm like, just anvil the damn, or just level the damned anvil. Won't have that problem. Mine's not, it's not bad this way, it's this way that I gotta fix. But I'll have to try that. Angling down more. I don't know if I'm at max height on that tripod either. So that could be something else. I'm doing like a half on, half off on these fullering marks. And then I'm just going to check the thickness and kind of make them all about the same. That's close enough. And then I'll just come back and blend that. Take out the chop mark. Yep, especially this side. Could have used a bigger eye on this guy. He doesn't necessarily look mean, but he also doesn't look like he's going to take any of your stuff. Huh. You got to look at him upside down. I'll fix that here in a minute. Looks like your shop's still standing. Thought mine was going to get blown away in the storms last night. What do you think about Derek's golden ratio calipers? Do you think it would be something you would use? I would totally use those golden ratio calipers. I have the golden ratio written down on one of my posts right there, 1.618. I mean, it's not the whole thing, but it's close enough. I use, so a little known fact on hammer tongs, or in this case, well, it's probably not a good example, but on the hammer tongs, that's the golden ratio right there. See it there. So, right there. I won't say it's a secret. I guess Brian just never really talked about it much. And what's funny is, he never, to my knowledge, he never measured it that way. He just found that that seemed to be the optimal setup for them to work. So that's what he just started doing, I believe. And then one day, you know, he got checked, and they were like, "Whoa, hey, check that out. That's pretty cool." I need to get that a little hotter to finish that off, but That's gonna look good. Yeah, man, those are. I actually kind of want to. I kind of want to make some, but I'm gonna buy some too. No, some forged ones. I think it'd just be cool. I think it would be a cool thing to do. I've been trying to talk Kurt Fehrenbach into doing it as a project, but we're kind of knee deep in the Urbana curriculum right now, so we want to get through that. I'll tell you guys a funny secret. Not a secret, but I'll tell you a funny about the Urbana thing. So I'm just kind of rounding out the cheek a little bit more. Let me switch to a different camera. So by using a ball fuller, it allows me to kind of wow out the cheek on the horse head a little bit. So if you turn it over, you can see where I was doing that. You have to be careful though, because you can easily. It's very counterintuitive. It kind of blew my mind the first time I did this. But if you just drive it and keep driving it, it's not going to give you a round. It's going to start squaring it up, which is crazy when you think about it. So you kind of have to move it and push it around. The first time I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. How does that make any sense? That doesn't make any damn sense. But that's what it did. Anyways, I kind of like this horse. Is he going to be in focus over here? Hell no. Let me switch to the other camera. Wide angle. It focuses better. All the other cameras are in manual focus. Oh, come on, light. I didn't think about that when I moved this. It's not quite in the light anymore. Yeah, you can kind of see what's going on. Not great, not bad either. Kind of happy with it. I'm happier with the proportions that were chosen. I think I feel like I could do less fullers for the mane. Do 1, 2, 3. Do one less, I think, would be ideal. And maybe even make the angles on them a little bit more extreme as they come down. I don't know. Things to play with. This guy, so far the only thing I'm seeing that I would want to do better on the eye. I don't like the eye on this particular proportion. I think a different eye punch would have been better. And the ear definition didn't. I probably could have gone back and hit that again. I'm going to leave that alone though. And then I will punch it and then cut it so that I can turn it into a bottle opener at some point in time, but not tonight. I'm going to switch now before I forget. It's a slot punch. I know it looks flat, but it is not. There's a ever so slight bevel on here. I prefer those. I feel like they punch quicker. But flat works fine too. See, that's the beauty, right, Roy? You just got to keep everything at the right distance, and it could look great. When we did my sign, that was my mantra for building the sign. I was like, all it has to do is pass a 15 mile an hour, 20 foot away visual check. If we can do that, we're going to be golden. 15 mile per hour test. That's what we were going with. So I don't need this screaming hot because I want to mark it to get it as close to center as I can, because I need all the assistance I can get. And I'm going to do that. Oh, what about there? That ain't good. And that's gooder. That's gooder. And get a light tap. Light tap. Those look pretty good. Now I'm going to come down a little bit more, about half this punch. Yeah, maybe not even that much. This is a bigger punch than I thought I'd grab. Let me just remark this. And then I'll just get it hot. I think that'll be enough. Because I'm going to forge this one over the horn. But not tonight. But yeah, that's a... And to be honest, I think that might have been something you told me, or you said in the class, or maybe even a video. You know, think about, you know, the angle and distance in which something is being viewed can really dictate the amount of effort that you put into certain pieces of it, or where you put the effort in the piece, right? I mean, obviously the piece needs to be sized appropriately to be seen from whatever distance you're going to expect people to see it from and be able to read it or make out what it is. But like, you know, if it's up in the air, you know, if it's 20 feet up in the air, ain't nobody inspecting the back of that thing. So why spend work on it? You know, make everything up front look good. And then think about the distance to which it's going to be displayed at. If it's 20 feet away up in the air, yes, you want it to look good, but I mean, you don't have to worry about every little ding. In fact, some of those little dings can actually enhance it to some degree, depending on where it's at. All right, let's see. Can I find my hole? There it is. All right, looks good. Turning my punch in between hits. I've already bottomed that out. One more good. There we go. So this is, I'm still getting a little shadow, but these lights have really helped with this. Well, it looks pretty good too. Connect the dots. Yeah, and I can just shear that out. I want to get a little heat in there. I don't need a lot. Yeah, I cast, when I stand over my anvil, I don't know if it shows up. Movie recording has been stopped automatically. What? Oh, this damn thing. Canon, I hate you. I don't know. Yeah, you can kind of see how I throw shadow over it, right? So when I stand over here, so what I really need is a light. Almost where the camera is at, and have a light cascading down this way to really wash that shadow out. And it's not even for the video. It's just straight up for me. What is this? It's not. I think it'd be helpful for the stream too, but really the big thing is for me. And I thought I had fixed this. Let me see if repositioning this light helps any. Get it a little closer. Oh, I don't know if that's helping. It's not. I don't need this really hot. In fact, it's kind of too hot right now. It won't shear out, not that heat. I'm preheating my anvil, y'all. There we go. All right. I'd rather use a smaller slot punch to knock that out. Let me find one. There we go. Oh, clearly I was a little off. Not that bad. Not that bad. A little rag in there, but like I said, I got to forge it out anyways on the horn, so not too worried about it. So normally when I do a bottle opener like this, I just use drifts and take it to like a little over an inch and then cut it off, and then I usually either rasp it to the end that got cut or hit it on the grinder real quick, and it takes like 5 seconds and then done. I don't, but the more I looked at it, the more I like the forged look on the end of the bottle opener versus taking it and just drifting it straight out. I mean, you still use the drift to like, straighten it and align it and get it true round, but I don't know. I just thought it looked better. I will open this up though. I'm going to open that up a little bit. There we go. As soon as I find my dot hole. There you are. Let's just go back to this camera. Nope. That'll do. That'll do. Forgot this slot opener kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. Heat on that. Find another next size up drift. I think is this guy right here. Yeah. Now I'll only take it up like, I think this is 1/2 inch, 3/4, and then everything else is going to be on the horn from there on out. I have a 3/4 inch. All right. We'll just put that back there just in case we need it. Look at it. It's even mostly centered and got the same amount of material on all sides right now, it looks like. Man, you can't ask for much more than that. I need to relieve an edge over here. You can see a little mark. Not so bad on this side, but clearly there's a mark there. I think that'll forge out. And then that's all I'm going to do with this. I'll cut it now. Using my tapered hot cut, which will break my anvil in two. Oh no! I mean, I understand that you would not take a swage, you know, a shanked swage that's tapered, and go beating on something in here. You would not, you know, like a cupping tool or a fuller or anything like that. Those should all be straight shanked. It really doesn't take a lot to release these. It's not driving this taper down. It's supposed to be hot. There should be a fine edge. All the PSI is going into the piece, not into the hardy. Well, not all of it, but anything that's going to do anything. But yeah, if you've got an old anvil, it might not be worth the risk. But I use this on an anvil that was made in 1894 or whatever. It's a smaller one, but same concept. That one's only got, I think, a 3/4 inch hardy hole. I just now realized that Ed and Brian made this one. I've never even paid attention to that. Yeah. Oh, hey. So I want to leave myself enough material that it's going to forge it down, but I don't need a lot. Just hit that damn thing. Did not mean to do that, but that's okay. It'll forge out. It fell on the ground. Urgh. You guys see how far I drove that thing into the hardy? Oh my God. Woo! What am I doing? Well, you can see me struggle. My struggle is real. Actually, you know what? It's easiest. These tongs don't really get around it. There we go. Would have been easier just to put that in the vise. But that's all I need. It's a little bit more than I need, to be honest, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to forge that over the horn. Can I get that over the horn? I guess I should have checked that, but no, I can use one of my other anvils. Oh yeah. Don't want to hang this. I'll put this in here. Also, if you're going to hang a hot piece, I discovered this the other night. Don't tell nobody. You're going to hang a hot piece on a tool rack. Make sure it's not touching your wood handles. This is the one I did, I think, last week. Or a few days ago, I don't remember now, but it's just a hook. And I wanted this hook to come around more, but yeah, oh man. I really like the old location of this light, or this camera, because it was positioned better under the light. Now it's like I'm searching to give you a better view of things. Let's see if I can do it over here. But yeah, this guy, I mean, this is kind of a struggle on this one too, but it is what it is. Hey, trust me, it's a horse. You guys can't see anything with that in the way, can you? What did I do with you? Oh, there you are. What did I do with you? So I'm just gonna maybe I'm just going to do something to get this junk out of my way. I'm just kind of upsetting that material back into the bar. I think it needs more. I think it needs more. Just a little bit though. Do it up here. Better. Yeah, I like it. I like it. Hey, Shane. Hey, Debaka. Everybody's jumping on at 9:30. Oh, so, see, I did not hit the button. Oh, let me get, I don't know what to make out of this thing. There's so many things I could make. It's kind of long for, I could try a flower on it. Why not? I haven't done that in a while. I haven't screwed one of those up in a while. I would think, I don't know, like making, you know, like doing actual like production videos. Nice, man. Glad you got to get out. As far as making like production videos, you know, like where there's editing and you put it out and it's not live or whatever. I mean, even streaming wise, but I would think especially that. I almost feel like the hardest part about that is one, picking something that you want to show. Like that's, you know, up there for me. And then the next thing is capturing everything that you want to show. You know, like there's so many little nuanced details sometimes that I think are very important, but it's very hard to capture. You know, for the noob, it's hard to determine what you need and what you don't need. So I'm gonna put a shoulder there and then try to roll this over. Mark that, a little lighter. Hey, that's mostly even. Imagine that. Flat side, by the way. You know, you hold straight rod, these things come out straight. It's a strange phenomenon. I feel like I did not switch cameras, and I did not. But we'll get to it. So, I don't know. Yeah, you know, as far as the streams go, well, there's a twofold situation there, right? One, I'm lazy. So, I'm lazy. So, all that editing and stuff, if I had to deal with that, I don't know that I would. But yeah, I agree with you. It's nice to see in a stream, there's no editing, there's no glamour involved. I can't whitewash anything I've screwed up, you know. And I think personally, not only do I learn more when I screw something up and have to fix it. But I think it's beneficial to others to see that and understand that, you know, sometimes you have to stop and fix them. And then sometimes you have to know when it's not worth the effort to fix. There are times when it's just like, you know, that's not worth the effort to fix, dude. Just start over. And in the time that it takes you to fix that problem, you could have already done 2 of those. You know, we see that with hammers a lot. Now, those shoulders aren't perfect, but they're not terrible. I'm gonna see if I can see. This is gonna, okay. There's a great example. The shoulders are not perfectly parallel to one another. One's just a hair off. So let me roll that down so it's essentially on there. It's not horrible, but it's definitely not. Yeah, it's cold up here, dude. I think it was like real feel of like, I think I read somewhere 11 or something today. I don't know what it's like right now. I'm standing next to the fire, so it's not that bad. But yeah, you know, what I like about the streams is, you know, now you have to watch me fix that. It's not horrible. I mean, if it was off by like 1/8 of an inch, I at this point, I would say cut it off and start over. But, you know, that's just me. Because that's a lot of work to fix something that far out of whack. It can be done to a degree, but sometimes, you know, you just got to learn to cut ties and move on. Oh, you guys got a wildfire going on up there? Yeah, that's crazy. So let me get this hot. I'm going to work on that a little bit more. I don't know. Let me see. Yeah, you guys can't really see it in that shot. Let me try this real quick. No, you definitely can't see it in that shot. And I doubt you can. No, you cannot see any of these in any of these shots. All right, so I'm going to leave it on this view because I think maybe this view will give you a better idea of what I'm up to. On this side of my anvil, being the near side of my anvil, I have a cutout, a triangular cutout, right about here. And the reason I have that cutout is it allows me to take a piece and stand it up vertically and get it in close to my anvil. But before I do anything like that, I want this really hot, at least for these initial set downs. If you don't come out hot when you do this, it has a tendency to skip out and not do what you want it to do. And I keep this at a fairly radius. It's not super sharp, but it's a fairly radius area of the anvil. So there we go. It actually could be hotter, but I'll make that work. So I'm not hitting really crazy hard. I'm trying to get the angles the same. And I'm gonna get it hot again. All I'm trying to do is establish that shoulder, and the more it gets established, the more gusto I'm willing to give it. But just starting that shoulder, I don't go crazy. I know some guys that can do it. I cannot. I'm not amongst that crew of people. And again, I'm going to go back to how does the audio sound, because I do have 2 mics running at the same time. And I can't monitor it right now, so I don't really have a good way of knowing how things sound. But I thought maybe a room mic per se could help a little bit. Yeah. But again, when I do those set downs initially, I want it hot and I'm not going crazy on it. I want to establish those shoulders. And it's very similar to doing a bottom tool too. I mean, you know, it's very similar to that. When you come out with a bottom tool, the last thing you want to do is go crazy on it. You want to establish that. And then turn. Turn. And you can do this over here too. I just prefer to do it here. Now, what I'm going for is a mostly even hex, and it's getting close. So, looking at this side here is slightly more than this side. So when I come out, I'm going to try to remember to come out and hit this side first, because it's the one that needs the most love right now. Gonna hit rim noise. Yeah, I kind of wanted some of that. I don't know if it's too crazy. No, I wanted it to sound a little like you're in the shop. That's kind of what I was going for. So I want this side first. And I'm going to check it. And then try to get the same thing on the other side. Not go too crazy. Now I'm going to hit this flat. We're almost there. That's not perfect, but man, is it close? Definitely not a perfect hatch. But overall, I can make this work. So let's get to working on it then. All this crap in my way. You know, he's running this show. Fire that guy. Fire him. I want to knock this down a little bit more. But not a lot. So I got a lot more on this side than this side. So I need to. There we go. All right, I want to clean this taper up now real quick. I'm not going to draw it out right now, but I would at least like it to be pretty decent going out both sides. What cigars do I smoke? These are, I smoke all kinds. Maduro is probably my favorite. Sun-grown and Natural's following right behind that. I'm not big on flavored cigars. If I want a flavored tobacco, I'll smoke a pipe. And as far as brands go, my everyday drivers are factory smokes. They're just seconds from Drew Estate. And then sometimes Cuba Libre when I can get a hold of them. I'm going to go to this camera real quick for this. So I'm just going to try and take this down a little bit. Oh, missed that. Did you see that? Oh, terrible. So I'm just taking it down, evening it out right now. I'm not trying to take it thin just yet. Okay, that's decent enough. decent enough. But yeah, factory smokes, Cuba Libre. And then as far as like on brand type things, Padron, Monte Cristo, Diesel, Drew Estate, the Undercrown series. Some of my favorites. Nubs, the Nub Habanos. Probably one of my favorite cigars of all time. So, those are my go-to cigars. All right. Oh, hey, that is not a chisel. Where'd my chisel go? Oh, it's right here. So, all I'm doing here, oh, I want a bigger chisel for this. All I'm going to do here is play connect the dots. So I'm going from here to here, right? From this point, you guys can't even see what I'm doing. You can, but you can't. So I'm going from this point to this point, and I'm just going to mark it. And I use a curved chisel. That way I can walk to it and mark it, but not get in the middle. Does that make any sense? I don't want the marks in the middle. If I can help it. Sometimes, you know, things happen. Get it close to the middle. I don't want it in the middle. That's straight. Kind of straight. That wasn't straight at all. Rob, you know better. But it is what it is. That's what I got. Now, one, I'll try to fix that one that's bad. But two, I'll try to redefine all of those a little bit more, a little deeper. Puke. Puke. Yeah, I agree. Hey man, sometimes that's what you get. A little bit of poop. A little bit of poop. Don't let anybody ever tell you that you can't do something with a little bit of poop. You can. I've seen it at the zoo. You can throw it at people. So I switched to a smaller chisel, by the way. And it's a little sharper. And I did that because this one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix that. I'm going to try to push it over and see what happens. No, that is no bueno. I don't know. I'm going to leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone and just accept my fate. I'm just taking these a little deeper. This one could go a little deeper. Getting a little chilly now. My butt's nice and warm. Aimed at the forge the way it is. But I want these all to be about the same depth. I think that center one, I'm going to leave it alone. Don't typically screw up that bad. Typically. Movie has been stopped because Canon sucks. Thank you, Canon. Yeah, That's a thing with Canon. I have not figured out how to make that stop. I even downloaded like a hacked firmware for it, and still haven't quite figured it out. I'm gonna have to like spend some time in the forums. Oh God, in the forums and figure that one out. I think. But yeah, that's to be honest, it's a very compelling reason for me to stop using Canon cameras. That kind of BS right there. The Lumix does not have that issue. You know what's really funny is the Canon, it's not recording. It's just on. So it's not even recording and it's doing that. So I'm going to use a small ball fuller for the most part. Fairly small. I don't know what that is. Maybe 3/8. Maybe. I don't think it's half. I mean, it is way down here, but on the working end, it is not. And I'm going to come out and establish my marks because I want to try to get these in the middle. Oh, you know what I need to do? Before I do that, I need a ball or a round eye punch. There we go. I need a round eye punch. And I will just try to center it on all these lines as best as I can. I feel like right there looks good. Nope, it needs to come up a little bit more. That's why I didn't hit it too hard. That one I'm going to hit harder. Now I'll get it hot and really drive that in. No sir, experience is expensive. What y'all talking about? So an IR filter would stop that. An IR filter. There's just too much IR in the camera. It's just trying to save itself. I have, on this camera, I have an ND filter on that one. This one, I keep ordering the wrong damn size. Very frustrating. You'd think reading was fundamental or something. Where'd my brush go? But things, yeah, those are things that I definitely want to work on and get better. They're just, you know, I get bored reading about that crap after a while. All right, that's as established as it needs to be. But now, an ND filter can help with that. There's some other things I can do that I want to work on. Like, what I could do, really, is on the Anvil cameras, I can turn the ISO way down and it'll make everything darker, but it'll brighten up when I'm forging. So I might try that. We'll see. Let me mark this bad boy up right quick like. Not my greatest flower by any stretch of the imagination. Get this a little toasty again. I'm gonna turn this fire down. I don't know how easy this is to adjust on the fly. But if I can remember which switch it is. Oh, that's not it. Aha. I think. I'll play with it later. Not something I want to do today. But I can C920s. You know, I've seen some things. So for me, I want to capture as much detail as possible. Like I could just switch everything over to my Canon camcorder, and it does a really good job. Now, granted, that's an expensive camera, but I mean, like this Canon's an expensive camera. The one right here, and it's got a prime lens on it. It's just a matter of getting the lighting right. And once I get the lighting right, $60 camera is going to come close as far as capturing all the detail I want to capture. Granted, I am not doing that now. It's blowing out, right? But now, on this camera, let me switch to it. So this camera is fairly easy for me to darken with an ND filter. Let's see how much difference that makes when I come out hot. And I honestly, this camera, the one that's on now, I can get this much closer. I just haven't. I want this view that it's on. It's going to be hard to see right now, but but I am curious to see. I'm going to actually work on necking this down a little bit. See how much difference that makes, and I can make it a little darker. Let me come over here. Yeah, now it's a little dark because it's gotten cold. Let me take it back out and try again. So I have a, what do they call it? So what it's on right now is just an ND filter. It's a variable ND filter, so it's the V&D filter. So you can adjust it. But when you adjust those, you should also be playing with other settings, which I'm currently not, obviously. So yeah, that to me looks pretty damn good. Yeah. But as it gets darker, obviously, it is harder to see. Draw knife works, right on. Is that the challenge, the draw knife? So I'll try to leave this a little darker, but not as dark as it was. And again, a lot of this is just me, at some point, just coming out here and setting cameras up. It's been too damn cold for that, by the way. To sit out here and then just tinker with the settings until I get them where I want them. And then, document that stuff. So I know when I come back out what I want. I'm gonna get the back into this bar a little hotter and take it down a little bit more. So yeah, and then the problem with forging material, right, is as it cools, it gets darker. harder to see. Where do you find the sweet spot with that? And I think that's a very difficult thing, just from a forging standpoint, to really pull off. About the only thing I could think of, is to wash everything out in light and then bring it down. But then you can do that in the camera. But the problem with that is you're forging here. It's like forging in daylight, right? So then it becomes difficult to determine how hot you are while you're forging. You can do that by feel to a degree. So there's trade-offs. It's a matter of, what you're looking to do, what you're wanting to do, what you're trying to showcase. For me, a lot of what I'm trying to demonstrate is how the material is moving and how I'm forging it to move it that way. I think that's something lacking in a lot of forging videos. Joey Vandersteeg used to do a really good job of that, showing that off, but he also used to burn through lenses like every other shoot. And then obviously he's not doing it anymore, so there's that problem. Alex Steele, to a degree, did some of that pretty well, but Alec would rather make bicycles or something. Yeah, I don't have striking good looks, so I'm definitely not trying to showcase any of that. Besides, it wouldn't do me any good anyways. I'm married. My wife probably gets bored of watching this after about 30 seconds. Where am I at? I need to go. All right. Actually, I'm just going to do that here. I have a super duper fancy tool for this that I could demonstrate the use of. That is an old cigar just laying up there. I almost put that thing in my mouth. Got butchering dies. Ouch, right on my footsies. I want it straight on the other side. All I'm going to do is come in here, right about there, give it a whack, reset, give it a whack. Notice, I always try to forge equally on all sides if I can. This is a piece of flat bar, essentially, right now. So I really only need to forge the two sides, but I'll still need to hit down the other planes because they're going to get fatter. But by doing that, you keep things even. If you were to take that tool and just whack it on the top one time, I can guarantee you it will almost never come out the same on both sides. One side's going to be deeper than the other. So you turn it over and give it another hit on the other side. You don't have to kill it. You can end up hitting it too hard, and then you have that battle to deal with, right? You're hitting it. You're just taking one side deeper and deeper, and the other, and then you're too thin. So you always want to, just like when striking, you always want to hit. You want to hit proportionally to the material being presented at the heat at which it is being presented at, right? Now, sometimes your director may ask for more oomph than what you give them. That's fine. They're looking for something, and that to help them out in that arena is completely fine. What was all of that was? What is that? Is it just Coke? Looks like Coke. Okay. Weird. I thought that was part of this piece, but it is not. I think it was clinker stuck to it. now. Ooh, poor flour. Poor flour does not look great right now. I would have switched to the anvil cam, but you don't need to see all that. Make a tool that you can or could get at a hardware store, but not a tool used for smithing. But you're making handles, use a draw knife. I do. Or is it not a forging tool? Is this like some kind of, I don't know. I was part of some weekly challenge thing. I mean, I'm still in that group, I think, but I don't know that I've ever done one. Like actually, you know, done it. Just because, man, I get so busy with other things that I lose track of that. And then by the time I do remember it, I'm like, yeah. So I'm tilting my hammer, by the way, when I'm doing this. So I'm tilting it in to reduce the risk of hitting the flour itself. There's other ways that you can go about this. It's just how I do it. I'm just rounding it up right now, sorta. And I need every advantage I can get. I'll take every advantage that I can get. Yeah, so the camera angle that I'm on now, I think shows some things really well. And this is something I want to try to figure out with OBS eventually. Actually, I can do it with this tool, but I'm going to use OBS for the chat overlay stuff. I tested that today, and it seemed to work fine. But what I want to do with the anvil cams is do a split screen. So this one and this one on the same screen at the same time, which I can do. In fact, I might be able to just hit buttons and make it work now, but it's the lighting issue that I want to get resolved before I really mess with that, because it's going to look kind of funky. You know, two different types of cameras, two different types of lenses. It'd be a lot easier to deal with if I could get the lighting correct. And I need to go back over this guy. He got a little crispy. But yeah, you know. Actually, let me come over here. Actually, and that heated up quick. Here, let me just go over this one real quick. I don't need to go ham on it, but I definitely want to clean it up. Oh yeah, better. Better. More better. I didn't seem to do a whole lot. There we go. I did this in my last stream. Wasn't a lot of people on, I don't think. I saw a cool trick in an old timer blacksmith video that I'm about to do after I hit this one time in the center. I just needed a little hot for that. Don't need it screaming hot. Trying to make sure I'm back in my spot though. Come on, there we go. Yeah, better. This round eye punch is kind of terrible, to be honest. So, I'm going to get it a little hotter again. I'm going to have my brush ready to go. A little hotter yet. Which camera am I on? Okay. Probably gonna be blown out a little bit. That's okay. So, gonna come out hot. Quick dip in the water. Really helps get all that scale off there. When I saw it, I was like, oh, bitch, you never even thought to do that. Works real well. Now, granted, you can't do that with everything. But mild steel or like wrought iron, you'd be fine. I'm pretty sure they were forging wrought iron. Or so, if you got a lot of mass, you'd be fine too. So I've lost definitely some definition from when it got a little cooked. But I'll come over here. Oh, come on, light. There we go. So what I'll do is I'll cut this off down here somewhere so I have enough material to weld something else to it. And then when I get enough pieces together, it will become like a yard sculpture, a yard art. I'm putting these tools back up. They're strung out all over the place. They're getting hot because of it. I had a couple ideas for forging some stuff, but it kind of came to me late in the day. Oh, I don't need another can up here. It kind of came to me late in the day, so I did not get to a point where I could actually work on them. But I think it's going to be something I want to do later on, is do like a candelabra type thing that holds 4 candles. Thomas, anything's a blacksmithing tool if you're brave enough. But it'll hold, comes out 4 ways, and then it'll come up in the center with a hook that you can hang. Is this something I seen Brian Brazil do? And I thought, man, that'd be cool. I want to try that. I don't typically do stuff like that, and there's different forging techniques involved with it that I like. There's aspects of it that I really kind of dig the idea of doing. And my favorite part about those kinds of projects is hearing people say, oh, well, your color just done blah, blah, blah. Yes, I know. I could have totally done just blah, blah, blah. That is not why I forge. I don't forge to go fabricate a bunch of shit and slap it together. That's not my thing. I want to hand forge stuff. That's what I want to do. What I'm working on now is just a flower, yeah. I don't want, yes, I know I can just cut out round things and slap them together and dish them a little bit and slap a candle on there, blah, blah, blah. I get that. I'm not making this to sell. I'm making this for me and because I want to make it, It's funny how many guys will tell me, some quick and easy way of doing the thing I'm doing, and I'm like, that's not what I'm going for, man. I'm not looking for the easy way out. Bill Corey is good about saying, he's in it for the journey, and I agree. I'm going to cut this a little longer because I kind of had, no, I'm not. That's all I mean. I had this really dumb idea, but I'm going to leave it right where it's at. And I'm just going to cut all the way through on this one. Well, I'm not, but I'm just cutting through one side. There we go. Tongs go. So there's enough material in here that I can forge weld that easily to something else and then stack a bunch of these up. Like I could do, I might have to forge down a little bit, but what I could also do is take, you know, a couple of pieces of 1/4 inch bar and make something and forge weld those stacked up on here. You know, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So that's that. Let me find a better pair of tongs. This is definitely not a better pair of tongs, but no, those are seized up. I forgot. I need to fix this. What the hell? Good. So, but yeah, there's enough material left on here. The flour kind of got a little chewed up in the fire. Hard to see in this light, but yeah, there we go. It could still be straightened up or whatever, but it's just a little decorative element, and you can forge weld a bunch of those things together, you know, with a leaf and a couple of flowers, a couple of leaves, a couple of blah, blah, blahs, and forge weld it into a big bundle, and then forge the end of that down into a long, elegant spike, and then you can drive that into like a small log, and it looks really cool. I have one in the house. I'm hitting the button so this damn thing doesn't shut down again. I'm gonna take away the ND filter here. This is a little too dark, I think. Bring it back up. I think that's about as good as that's going to get for right now. And then right on, man, take it easy. I'm just gonna forge some little things. I don't know. I'm just doing it, man. I'm just doing it. I'm really thirsty though. I didn't bring my freaking water out here. I'm gonna get a cup of water real quick. I think I still have some water in the shop. I need to take another bottle down, but I've been not wanting to do that until we stop getting freezes. Like today, for those that aren't in this area, Monday was 70 degrees. And then, this sounds frozen. Oh, there it goes. Monday was like 70, yesterday was like 65. Today it was frozen, and there was a 10-inch long icicle hanging off of the house. Welcome to the Midwest. Good time. But hey, most of the time it's pretty pleasant. We're on air 2 hours. It means it's 10 o'clock, 10:30 almost. And back to cold February. Yeah, Sam. It started getting pretty chilly last night around here. And then when I got up, I got the dogs out. I was like, oh hell no. I was half tempted to cancel streaming because this is borderline like at my like give up mode. It's not that bad though next to the fire. Let me tell you though, this water is quite refreshing. So, you guys missed it earlier. This is what I started with. This is a tapering die that drops in to a saddle, a power hammer saddle. Switch to the camera. So it drops into a power hammer saddle. But it is not complete yet. That's what this piece, this is what I forged earlier today. That's what this is for. This will actually weld, let me bring it up. This will weld to this. This way, this will drop down into the saddle, this piece. What is that? It's like a little doodad on the screen, but it's not showing up on this program, so okay, whatever. So it'll weld to this side. Well, actually it'll weld to this side. So it'll weld this way, and then you put it on the die, on the bottom die in your saddle, and then there's a bolt that will lock this in place to keep this from jiggling around too much. So that's a project probably maybe for tomorrow, definitely this weekend. The die itself needs a little extra work, but it's close, and I'd like to start using it soon. How is the forge vented, or do you have the doors open? I have a door open, maybe. I mean, it's like a 14-foot long door, a big bay, you know, barn door. I would say it's open 4 feet right now, and then all the other doors are closed. If it gets smoky in here, I'll open, like there's 2 doors here, but I usually only ever open one. You guys can't even see what I'm pointing at shit. There's a door right here. But they're much smaller. They're only maybe 3 feet wide. But I typically only ever open one. And then when I try to get air moving through here, I'll open those up. In the summertime, usually all the doors are open. Just to get as much air in here as possible. As far as venting the forge, I run coke, so it's really not, it's not smoky for the most part. The only time it gets smoky is when we've been using coal, and then sometimes we'll mix coal in with the coke. And it gets a little smoky then, but it's never been. It typically gets up about, I don't know, 7-8 feet up in the air and kind of hangs there and then gets eventually pulled out. We're going to do a couple of smokestacks in here with a flue and everything. I think probably this summer. I've got the bits and pieces for it. So that will be something that we're going to work on. And to be honest, for me, it's not even about the smoke. It doesn't bother me. It's more about the dust. If I can help get some of the damn dust out of here, that would be... Yes, staying warm, Paul. It's not bad. Actually, with my hood, my hoodie up, it hasn't felt terrible at all. And then being next to the fire has been helping immensely as well. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. As far as the venting goes, Iron Weaver, aka Paul, and I will probably do something this spring because, like I said, I've got the materials to do it now. I've got a hood for one of the forges. I kind of have a hood for this one, but I'm also kind of leaning towards the Super Sucker, the side draft for this. We'll see. We'll see. I haven't ruled that out yet. The problem with the side draft for me is it takes up a lot of space on your forge. So if I were to go with a side draft, I'd probably build a slightly different forge to accommodate that. Because my forge is really kind of small in the grand scheme of things. It's only a 24 by 36 table. My other one's a little bit bigger than that, but not much. And to be honest, with a side draft, the way it takes up space, I'd almost want maybe a 30 wide, 48 long table. I think would be probably in the sweet spot. Not too big, but bigger and more accommodating for that. Because you lose the way my tables are set up, they're very lightweight and they're meant to be transported easily. But one of the key factors in maintaining that weight is the tabletop itself. It's very thin sheet steel. And if you allow that sheet steel to start getting hot, it's going to potato chip on you. These haven't done that to that degree, but they are sagging. That's an easy fix. You just flip them over, right? But they are sagging. But the potato chipping, if they start getting hot, so one of the things you do to combat that is to keep coal on your table, keep fuel on the table. It helps insulate it. Plus, you're less likely to run out in the middle of the day. So I don't know what I'm gonna do with this thing. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do with this thing. I does abound. I'm gonna make I'm gonna forge weld the end of that. I'm gonna forge weld the end of that sucker. Because that cut lends itself to a scarf on the back end, so it'll be easy. Should be easy to blend that in. But I want my smoky. So Paul's here. Paul's good about not giving me a bunch of horse shit. Not that you guys are horse shitting me, but how does it sound, Paul? I've been asking all night because I got 2 mics running right now. Notice there's no chat overlay. That's because I do not have it. Well, I do. I could not find my Ethernet adapter for the laptop, so I didn't want to come out here and try and do this on a wireless connection. So no laptop out here right now. I'd also like to figure out a good way of protecting it because it is my fancy dancy MacBook. We come over here and bend this from the vice right quick, black. Way more material there than it needs to be, but that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I'm still on the audio fix-it kick, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. And I think with I really wanted to try this with that boom mic, but completely forgot it in the house. I can't be bothered to go get it. But I think the next week, I'm going to hook that boom mic up and try it out and see how that fares. Seemed like it did pretty good. I got some recordings from when we were playing with it that one day, so I might listen to those just to see. But I think that in conjunction with a closer up mic that allows me to turn this mic down a bit more, I think is beneficial. You guys can't even see what I'm doing. I'm gonna put it on that camera. Notice my bevel here. Hang on. My bevel's on this side. So when I bring this down, it'll be where I want it. What do y'all think? Flux or no flux? Roy's gone, right? We're gonna flux the hell out of that. I'll try it without flux. Wednesday is clear next week. Oh shit. We better come up with a map. We'll do some striking because I think people have been asking about that. Just need to figure out what we're going to do. I also want to do practice those drifts a little bit. I should have the tapering die done by then. I'm going to work on that this weekend, I think. Turn it down a little bit. But yeah, I think some striking maybe. Or not, it doesn't matter really. I mean, striking wise, I'm kind of like, I wanted the tapering dies. If we were to do any top tools, I would almost rather use the power hammers and stuff, but we do need to practice the striking because we do have that class coming up. No flux at the moment, Thomas. We do have that class coming up, so it's probably not a bad idea to run through some hammers at some point before, what is that, May 11th or whatever? Probably not a bad idea. Probably not a bad idea. And a good indicator on these forge welds, by the way, is when you start working back towards the end of that, at that end where it's bent, hasn't forge welded, it's gonna have a tendency to want to pop open on you when you hit lower. So when you see that, I mean, it could have welded and it could still do that if you're not careful. So just something to be mindful of sometimes. I'm going to turn this down. See how that looks. I'm going to switch to this camera. It's dark right now. But yeah, that end can pop open. So just something to be, mindful of as you're working. And don't be afraid to put flux on it. You just don't have to dump a bucket of flux on it. Yeah, I know Roy uses flux from time to time. There's a time and place for everything, right? I use it even when I probably don't need to, simply because it doesn't eliminate, but it helps eliminate chances for failure. Okay. Yeah, see right there, doing that. So, and here again, I don't care. I'll use flux. I ain't scared. There ain't no shame in my game, but I don't use a lot. Like, look. Oh, you can't really see that. I'm not going crazy here. I just a little bit on the seam. Well, if it comes out. A little bit on the seam. A little bit on the seam. Now, when When you're forge welding, by the way, you got a seam pointing at you. Be careful. When you hit that, and there's a good chance that flux is going to come flying back at you. Just something to think about. Same with when you got two seams on the sides. Make sure the people on the sides are clear. This is something I think in a shop environment, in a group environment, I've seen people with terrible etiquette, I guess would be the word. When there's people on the sides of you and you're welding and you're forge welding, you should be calling that out. That way people know to get the hell out of the way. I mean, a flux coming out and hitting people, that shit burns. And it's dangerous, you know. Somebody else could have been bending over to pick something up at that point, and you got flux right in their face. Oh, dude, I haven't seen that, but it's just amazing to me. Like, you know, people, they're completely oblivious to the surroundings. And it's like, man, you're holding material that can scorch the living hell out of somebody. You need to be mindful of what you're doing and those around you. You know, there's people, you know, that I see all the time doing stuff, you know, that it's just a matter of time before something bad happens. It's just a matter of time. It hasn't happened to my knowledge yet, but it's just a matter of time, you know. I've seen people come out of the fire and doing this, you know, and there could have been somebody standing right there. They didn't look. You should never come out of the fire with that thing raised up like that. There's no reason to. Ever. There's never a reason to come out of a fire like, "Rrr." See that? How it all came out? Don't get that hot again. I don't know. I'm sure that was blown out on this camera. Let me switch to this camera. It's going to be dark. Sorry. Why back in the fire so fast? Like, it could have taken a couple more hits probably. Because it's going to heat up that much faster. See that move? I saw that move. There, right there, got me. I don't really want to hit right there, but I'm going to. That's welded. Not on the very, very end, but down here. That's welded. I'm going to put a little bit more on this end. And then, because this is Iron Mountain Flux, I'm going to put it on the seam again because it helps fill those the seams up so they're easier to blend. Acts as a little bit of a filler material. So I'm going to, oh, there we go. See, if I was like, you know, super fancy, man, I'd have those cinematic cameras that have like, you know, digital controls for the ND filters that are built into the lenses. But I am not that person. Get your order tomorrow. What's your order, man? Yeah, we'll definitely have some time, Paul. One of the things I want to do, one of the things I'd like to do, I mean, aside from the hammer thing, is I'd like to we need to finish the other station, tool-wise. I don't think it's quite there yet. We need to take stock of what we got done and what could be done again or done better. But I'd like to fully tool that station and take my tools out of that equation. And then I'd like to start making tools for my new tools for my station so I can move those off. You know, not all of them are bad, you know, but some of them are, they're on the borderline ready to be retired. This butter is getting hot. Now I'm letting this cool down so I can evaluate it a little bit better and see how things are looking. It looks closed up to me. I just need to work on the back end of that a little bit. I'm going to push that a little further into the fire. But yeah, tooling wise, I'd like to make it a point to really focus on knocking out tools. And I mean, to be honest, as far as I know, you need tools too. So, take stock of what we need. Make it a point to just, one night, we just bang those out. Be it striking wise or with the power hammer, or both. Maybe we use the power hammer for certain things and do other things with the striker. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll do things that don't totally suck. But I think some striking on a stream would be cool. I think that could be fun. 25th of March. Get a new knee. I wouldn't mind having a new pair of knees. That's a dog, isn't it? Pair of knees. Mucho better. Yeah, I could actually. I feel like mine are overdue for a rebuild. Oh yeah. Just watching this thing cool down can tell you a lot, and it's looking pretty good. Yeah, and that knee replacement surgery thing, it is mind-blowing how fast people are recovering from that nowadays, and how well, like the massive difference it makes. Like when I was a kid, it felt like most people, it was like a 50-50 chance, that it was going to do anything for them. Same with those like hip replacements. I've known a few people who've gotten them, and that was like some serious surgery, especially for elderly folk. And it seems like elderly folk are getting it done all the time now. Like, and the survival rate is very high in comparison to when I was a little kid. I can remember that was damn near a death sentence. Like you had to meet certain parameters to even be considered for that type of surgery. Now it's like, yeah, we'll give you a titanium hip and ball joint in there, whatever. No big deal. So I'm going to, just because funsies, why not? I'm going to butcher that, fold it in half, and do it again. No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. Because I really only want that on one side. I'll do that on the edge. I was looking for an excuse to cheat. Yeah, I think that's another thing that's really changed in the medical field. And this is something I've always, like my family was always big on, was not lounging around after something like that. When you've been hurt, you need to get up there and, you know, you need to get out there and move. Let's see, if I'm going to short it, I'm going to short it this way. By the way, if your weld sucks, this next step is definitely going to let you know. And that's why I like doing stuff like this. You know, it lets me know if I did something to the best of my ability at that moment, or at least acceptable. Maybe not the best of my ability, but acceptable. Will it do what I want it to do? I think so. We'll see. Damn old camera. Oh, Cameron, why do you hate me so? But I'm not like measuring this. I'm just playing, right? But if I'm going to fold that back over and weld it again, if I'm going to short it, I would rather short it on the side that's being bent over, not the other, because I don't want it to overlay. Or, you know, when I fold it over, I don't want the top piece going over the bottom piece. Ooh, this bar is hot. I need to go get water this week. Bring it down to the shop. Better. Mucho better. But yeah, Paul, if you're still around, I'll work on a checklist for myself, and then we'll just sort out, like, out of that what you might need, and then I'll gather up and cut up material for it so that we have billets. Might need to make some billets, and then we'll do a little striking stream. Don't see too many of those these days, so I think that could be fun. Oh. Hey. I'm going to brush that off. That's a little crusty. Before I close it up. I'm just going to throw that on the big shelf while I'm at it. Oh. Come on now. Mucho better. And I'm not going to even mess around. Man, that bend is almost perfect. Sometimes I amaze even myself. A little more flex on there. On that too, that's okay. Well, not everything. Like I had to replace my set. So that's, you know, to be honest, I'm really happy with this set hammer so far. I mean, I haven't actually used it, but every time I pick it up, look at it, I'm like, man, that thing looks good. Love it. I even like the finish, and I'm not big on shiny things. Shiny things don't last long in my shop, for those wondering. They go from shiny to rusty in really short order. But I would definitely like to do some set hammers. I don't necessarily want to do them next week, but I'd like to revisit doing some set hammers, different sizes. Like that's a good size. I'd like to have a slightly bigger face, but at the same time, I mean, a 40-pound set hammer, not conducive to fun. No, I do like chunky. Chunky is it. We'll struggle to kill that thing. We made a set hammer sometime last summer, and that damn thing, I mean, it's got every bit 2.5-inch wide faces on it, and it's short and stubby. You know, I mean, it's around here somewhere. I'd grab it for you, but I don't see it right away. Swap over again. We're getting close. Very close. But it ain't there yet. There's chunky. Oh, there it is. We had to draw an arrow on it so that people knew which way was the working end, because we kept having people hitting this side. Drive me nuts. Dan. All right. Coming out on the right camera. Yep. A little more in that seam on the bottom. But since I'm adding some, I'll just get it all the way around. No, I'm pretty confident the whole thing is welded at this point. And I'm just playing. I don't really have like a major plan for this thing. Almost 11. I'm gonna stop at 11:30 tonight. I got a stupid meeting in the morning. Stupid meetings are stupid. We're back to Chunky. This is Chunky. Notice we do have an arrow. The arrow represents what goes onto the workpiece. This is the side you hit. You know, the side with all the lumps and bumps and stuff on it. This one's got a ding in it that could, I don't think it'll bother anything, but yeah, it's chunky. But the problem with this set hammer is it doesn't really lend itself. So to be honest, it works more like a flatter than it does a set hammer. And the reason being, on a set hammer, typically you want either and I'll show you guys this one. You want the struck end to be in line with your working face, and ideally a slight taper there, so it's generating force down the center of this, because these are meant for setting. They're set, you know, they're set hammers. They're not typically flatters. They're not really meant for that. A flatter, you want to increase your surface area of contact. With a set hammer, you're looking to decrease your surface area of contact depending on the process that you're doing. And then you can also tilt these and use them as butchers to a degree, false butcher. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this came out. And that was done almost entirely on the power hammers. The only things we did not on a power hammer was driving the drift. That was all done by hand. There we go. That is nice and welded. I think I could do one more fold, the whole thing back once, and take that. Could take that up to 1 inch pretty easily. You can upset it that way too. Let's see if we can do that. Why not? Why not? Catch you later, man. I want to forge this, keep forging this at close to forge welding heat, just so I don't inadvertently blow it apart. I have no idea what I'm going to use this for. Just like I said, funsies. How many times can you bend this bar over and just keep forging it on itself? And, I mean, these are easy welds, by the way. Man, I gotta tell you, at least on the sides, that looks good. That looks good. Let's go up here. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but there's almost no seam on these sides. Now on the inside, there's a little bit of seam there, right on that very first weld. So if it's gonna give me grief anywhere, that's probably where it's gonna do it. So why not? I see it, why not deal with it, right? We'll get that a little hotter so it's going to flux, take the hold, and we'll put it right down into that seam. We'll see how she does. I'm going to go ahead and shut the other camera off. It's just annoying me at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring that out over here on the biggest radius of my anvil, not the horn, but on the edge. And I'm going to try and blend that seam down a little bit. I have to be careful though, because I can inadvertently take that too thin at that juncture, and then now I just compromise the whole thing. And I don't want to compromise the whole thing. I've been having fun with it. Almost there. Yeah, that looks a lot better. It got a little thin though. It got a little thin, I ain't gonna lie. But that seam looks a lot better. So now, let's see if I can fix that being so thin. I'll try to upset it a little bit. How to piss your forge welds off. I would stay up later. I didn't sleep so good last night. Woke up at like 6:30 this morning. That's very early for me. I don't, more of a 7, I say very early, an hour earlier than usual. Usually up around 7:30. But, you know, when you only get like 6 hours of sleep a night, man, when you get robbed and you're down to 5, never good. Same thing. They're very hot. It ain't perfect, but it's a lot. It's not nearly as thin as it was. So I'm gonna stay away from that for now. Oh, I mean, I don't know what I can do a lot of things with that, right? I mean, you can do a lot with that. Maybe that's what I do in another impromptu stream, is come up with some kooky idea of what to do with this. This forge welded lump on there that I've just folded over onto itself multiple times. There's nothing fancy going on there. It's just folded onto itself a few times. But, you know, figure out what I can do with it. Meanwhile, I'm going to put it down. That's what I'm going to do with it, because it's hot. I'm going to shut this off for now. Off. See if it actually shuts off. This switch on this thing is kind of janky. And I've noticed that it doesn't always shut all the way off. And then if you don't get it all the way off, it starts to smoke a little bit. Good. I'm going to go and get something to drink and fill up my doodad. I can't tell. Did I actually mute this thing? I can't tell. Yeah. I'll be right back. Turn it back on. I can't. This thing doesn't really. It's not very good at letting me know if it's muted or not. I had to look at the. Yeah, it looks like it's on. I had to go check on a tree, make sure it was watered properly. That's code, by the way. So I think. Oh. I got time enough to do one more wonky donkey thing. Why not? Why not? All right. Go. Get this big old clinker out of here, though, that's for sure. Oh, baby. Surprised I was able to weld anything with that. Probably could have welded it without flux. That was my problem. It was not. I mean, if you're gonna, I would say if forge welding is like something that you're gonna be doing a lot of, I definitely think there is a lot to be said about learning to do it, when to do it, fluxing, that is, when to do it, and when not to use it, because it doesn't need to be used for everything. So I think if you're going to do a lot of forge welding, I think it's worthy of learning to do without as much as you can. I honestly don't do a lot of forge welding. And what I do is usually fairly simple forge welding. Look at it, it's a big old chunk of. I thought I got it all out. This big old hunk come flying out of there. But like I said, I personally do not do a lot of forge welding. And like I said, the stuff I do is relatively basic. But I will say, one of the things I try to do, anytime I try to forge weld something, one of my goals, typically when I forge weld, is to be able to do the weld. Now this is just more of a silly exercise on my end than anything else. I want to see if that's in focus. It looks like it's way too good. What's the heavy glasses on to do? Oh, that's not bad. Anyways, anytime I forge weld something, one of the things I like to do is drastically alter the cross section of that forge weld if I can, because it's more of a challenge for me to be able to say, okay, not only did I did that on like one of those spike sculpture things that where you drive the spike into a log and it's got multiple elements welded together. I like to draw that spike down because it informs me of how well I welded that piece. So if you try to draw a piece like that down, and not only did I do that, I put shoulders on it. And it wasn't an attempt to show off. It was an attempt to say how well I did to me. I think a couple of the guys in the class took that as me showing off or something. And it's not what it was about. I mean, it had nothing to do with that, had nothing to do with them. It was all a personal challenge. And there's no need to do it, to be honest. I mean, it's just a personal thing that I like to do. But I could see how somebody might think, I was making an attempt to show off. I mean, I get it. But I'll have you know, that is never anything I'm looking to do. Ultimately, my goal in that realm is to show people how I approach things, and if it's something that they can find useful, I'm willing to show them. So that's a big part of this streaming adventure, as well as, it's a personal thing too. I go back and watch these and look at what I've done, and then I'm always trying to figure out, what could I have done better? Sometimes I look at something, this is rare, but sometimes I look at something and go, damn, that was spot on, Rob, spot on. Nothing to do there. You nailed that. A lot of times, it's like, whoa, what were you thinking when you did that, dude? Why did you do that? A lot of times it's like, or a lot of times I'll see something that I've done, and then it's like, had I done this instead, that would have worked better. And that's what I'm looking for. What could I have done better? In my approach, not somebody else's subjective idea of better for me. in the techniques that I use. You know, how could I have leveraged that better? What could I have done better? And sometimes there's simple things, you know, just the way you hold something or how hard you hit something. That's something I struggle with quite a bit. Sometimes I hit things way too hard. You know, those are things that I got to work on. This is why, like, scrolling for me, I'm terrible at scrolls because I tend to hit way too hard. It is a habit that I'm finding difficult to break. But man, every time I look down at the set hammer, I really dig it. I mean, it's not flawless, but it looks good. I like the way it looks. I'm really happy with the overall look of this hammer. There are flaws with it, and there's things I would not. Well, you know, honestly, I would not be ashamed of selling this set hammer. It's not for sale, but I would not be ashamed of selling a hammer in this condition. It's not perfect, but it's a functional tool, and it looks pretty good. And I mean, I just have no complaints with it, really. I mean, I do, but it's not. They're minor. They're such minor things, and it's all aesthetic. It's not from a function standpoint. You know, it's like a couple lines here and there could have been lined up better. You know, oh, you got a little bit of a cat, you know, like a chop mark right there. You know, I could have cleaned that up a little bit better. But that also starts getting into the realm of knowing when to stop. So, once you got a tool, I mean, that was what I told myself. In fact, I think I even told that to Paul. Was like, you know, don't. It looks good for what it is and what it's going to be used for. We don't need to chase perfection on these. We can make another one later and try to do better the next time. You know, I'm not a one and done person. I want to make a thing and get really good at making that thing, and then I'll move on from that thing. Now, I don't always do that. Sometimes I'll jump back, but I always go back to it. You know, I always go back to it. I'm going to do another horse. If you don't like it, get out. So I want to get my tools ready. I'm going to go with a different eye this time. I'm digging it. I'm digging it. I am digging it. Don't dig it. I don't even know if anybody's watching this anymore. Burn it. I dig it. Alright, that's where I'm at with that. Good enough. I'm going to get it a little hot. No, not super hot. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bend it. This will be another bottle opener blank. Bend this in the vise. Yep. Now we're going to get a little hot. Can you tell if that's like thunder or pretty sure that's a plane? A little too big on that now. That'll work. I'll make it work. A little much on that ear. A little much on that ear. I don't know if anybody's still around. I'm hoping the chat thing isn't. Oh, it just completely like reset. Anyways, hoping the chat thing doesn't like freeze up or whatever, you know. I don't know if it does. I haven't noticed that. I need a hot punch. Right there. Oh yeah, got a big ol' eye. Nose punch. Let's see if we can do this without shearing his nose off. So far, I like. He's a happy horse. I made a happy horse. Oh my God! I almost never do that. Literally, almost never do that. They almost always come out. Almost always come out. Bad. Mean looking. 2, 3, more angle on this one. 4. Yeah, I like it. Oh, drop forward. He was getting a little toasty, not burning wise, but hand wise. So I'm gonna get my glove, maybe. What do I do with it? I'm gonna do this first, and then I'm gonna be done. Actually, you know what? I'll turn this camera back on because I thought it did a pretty good job of showing what is it? Oh. Card is full. Okay. Really? This damn thing, I swear to God. I know the card is full tonight. I'm not trying to record. Okay, let's try this. Okay. I don't care that the card is full. I'm not recording. Erg. Get this hot. Clearly, I can't get the other camera going now because it thinks the memory card's full. I'm not trying to record anything, dumbass. I want to see, does that show up? Oh yeah, totally shows up. Thanks, King. Thanks a lot. You're so good. The other fun thing is it does some exceptionally dumb things. I get it. It does some exceptionally dumb things. Without a memory card in it. Anyways. He's coming on. He's a coming on. I'll tell you though, I'm well on my way to replacing this camera with something else completely. Going with the Lumex line. Or even stepping up. Problem with that is the step up I want to make. That camera is really expensive and it doesn't come with a lens. So I'd still have to buy a lens for the damn thing. Helpful. I'm digging it. I'm digging it, y'all. Excuse me. Marked. Now I'm going to get it pretty good and hot for what I want to do. Wow, that peak out. Yeah, damn thing's just sitting there saying Carter's full. Yeah, I get it. I got it, dude. I got it. Thanks for your help. Just delete it up and just put down the Carter's full. The damn thing. Oh yeah, I like it. I like it. Mm-hmm. About sure as I'm gonna get it. Let me see if I can. I'd really like to. Okay. I think I got it. I think I got it. So I'm using a slightly bigger slot punch than normal. And to be honest, I'm not a fan of these longer ones, the wider ones. I just don't feel like they punch as quickly because you got more surface area of contact. I prefer a much smaller one. Something that tapers down to the slot, not exceeding the column of the tool like this one does. It's wider at the end than it is down here. Not by much, but enough. But it's what I started with, so it's what I'm gonna finish with. Almost. Got it. There's a clean hole. Quite happy with that. No rag in there to worry about. I like it. Open that up. I'm not doing good at saving my bend overs. Really need to make a new slot opening punch. This one's terrible. Because it actually does not go into the hole that it's supposed to. And it's bent. Not a huge deal, but it's not ideal either. I don't think I have any others in here. I have to make some clearly. So I got to use this hole, which is bigger than I really need. All right. I don't know if I have a drift big enough for that, but I'm just gonna hit it a couple times. A little bit more. See, that slot punch was kind of big, and I prefer to start with a good round versus not quite round. And then for that, we go there. This bad boy. And this is essentially the final heat. I'll cut it off, but I might not do that tonight. But same thing as the other one. I'll cut it off, and then what I'm probably going to do is make a bunch of these and save them for the fair, and then get them ready for the fair, the state fair in August, and then take them down there with me. So I've got quote unquote stock ready to go. So just gonna hit it. And then just gonna hit it. This side. That's all I'm gonna do with that. It looks pretty good. And I'll heat the whole thing up to a reddish, and then try to do my best to descale it. But that's I learned a lot playing with those, working on those. You know, just do something. You don't have to spend as much time on it. You can, in fact, you can start working on, that's one of the things I want to do is start working on my speed with these. That I don't feel confident with that just yet. But one of the things I want to do is start working on the speed. I want to drill the set downs into my brain so I'm not overdoing them. This one looks pretty good on this, as far as the set downs go. I can nitpick my own work all day long. But I'm just gonna get this. That's the heat. Really, all I need, and then just brush it down. And when these are closer to being done, actually done, what I'll do is I'll soak them in my acid bath, but with mostly vinegar with a little bit of muriatic acid for kick. And then I will get most of the scale off, and then I'll put a finish on them. I might not even touch mark them. We'll see. I don't like doing that until towards the end, though. But that's the horse. And I'll come over the wide angle camera if there's anybody even left. And show him off, because I'm pretty happy with how he looks. A little bit of scale on there I could get off, but that'll come off pretty easily. Anyways, there he is. In the light, I swear. There we go. But yeah. And then, like I said, I'll work on, I'll cut it, and then I'll forge these down into bottle openers after the fact. But I want to do, each bar I can get, 2, 3, 4, 5, easily 5 out of one bar, maybe probably more. Find a place to hang this safely. But I can usually get a few out of those. Before I have to switch to tongs, and I don't like doing them with tongs, but I should probably just get over myself. Stop being a big baby. I got a pair of Built Quarry tongs that hold it pretty well. So maybe that'll be the next step, next phase, is to practice using tongs on them, so that I can do the same process but with tongs. So I'm gonna get to cleaning up, and I appreciate everybody hanging out. If you're still around, I don't know. Bunch of lurkers. Have to work on the chat engagement somehow. Create a bot that just randomly spouts dumb stuff. Did you know that you could quench 5160 in ice cold virgin's blood? I bet you didn't know that. Bet you didn't know that. So I'm just, for those that have seen before, and I'll probably always do this, break down my forge at night. That way when I come back out, either tomorrow or Friday, well, it won't be Friday. When I come back out, I'm not having to do a lot of that. So I don't do Fridays because I'm in a band, and that is currently our designated jam night. That may or may not change in the future. I don't know, but I have to drive. It's an hour and 30 minutes or so away. I have to drive. So if we come through your town, I fully expect to see you show up so you can honor my sacrifice properly. So, well, let that cool down. I got most of the top off. Tell you, it's chilly, but it's not bad. I mean, my feet are only just now starting to kind of get cold, which is surprising for me. I don't normally wear my hoodie up, and I feel like that's made a significant difference. I mean, it's known, right? Wear a good insulated hat helps keep a lot of your heat in, because you expend a lot of heat through your brain. Not that there's a lot of power going on up here, but definitely expend some. So while that's cooling down, I'm going to start shutting some of these cameras down that I don't need right now. This one's still on. This one is still on. Holy camoly. I'm gonna put these cameras away while I'm sitting here not really doing much of anything at all. Put that away, make sure that's down. I think this camera, this is the Canon. It's a Rebel is it a 7 or 5? It's a 5i, so it's a little old. For photography, it is a great camera, especially for entry level good cameras. DSLRs. I don't know what they're up to. I think they've switched to something completely different now. It's been so long since I've looked at them. But I mean, you can get these on the cheap, the T5s and the T7s. Get them really cheap now. At least the last time I looked, unless something's happened. So if you're looking for a good DSLR, don't get this one. I say that because this damn thing, oh yeah, I got the lens off, derp. I say that because Canon has apparently hard-baked this shutdown sequence in these damn things, and it's just super annoying. It's Lumax, and I kind of get it, but at the same time, it's like, really? Like, that's what you guys are doing now? So, maybe, I mean, if you're just wanting it for photography, I think it's a good camera. But The Lumix cameras are really nice. I mean, I was on the fence. Wasn't sure if I really wanted to jump into it, but after having bought one, I don't have any major complaints. And to be honest, the lens that it came with is pretty decent as well. And hell, that's just the starter lens. Maybe next year I'll spring for a fancy lens. I'll have to talk to Roy about that. He knows more about these cameras than I do. Hell, I think, to be honest, he knows more about cameras than I do. Period. I was really into it for a little while, but I realized it was becoming kind of cost prohibitive. But I used to go to shows all the time and would photograph the bands, in those shows. So I was always looking for a good camera for that. And to be honest, I mean, for what I was doing, the Canon was great. Especially in low light situations, some of the lenses I had for that, it worked great. No real complaints there. See, this camera is still on. It's off. Disconnect all this stuff. I want to get another, at some point, another one of these monitors for the cameras. That way each camera has its own monitor. Well, I mean, the little LED displays are fine, but to a degree. But these are much nicer, relatively cheap. I'm not looking for like super color accuracy or anything like that. I know, maybe someday, but right now, these are like under $200. And I just don't see how you can go wrong with them, to be honest. Especially in this type of an environment where, they're going to be getting covered in dust and stuff, It's just... seems to me like a wise investment. If I can get a couple of years out of one of those before I kill it, I think it's worth the money. Now, I come out here and the damn thing's dead, within a week, I will know it was not a wise investment. I will not buy another one. So, yeah, the hell that goes to? Like these lens covers, I'm like, I have no idea what that goes to. I can't really see everything in here. And that's not it. That's for you. That's there. Also be helpful if I could actually see back here. But yeah, I mean, it's I mean, if you're just looking to stream videos, I think those Logitech cameras that was mentioned earlier, I think the C690s, I think are every bit capable. Oh, it's midnight, y'all. I'm just putting these all back in their case. I got a hard shell case for everything. Try to keep everything in as good a shape as I possibly can. I'm going to shut down this microphone. Don't need it anymore. Shut that one off. Kill the power. keep this. I'm actually going to take this one inside. This cable. I do stuff in the house every once in a while, and I don't have this damn thing. And I have to come back out here and get it. I've got one out here, so looks like most everybody's gone, which is cool. I'm kind of gone too, to be honest. So I'm going to shut this off, and I'll catch you guys next time. Laters.